Yo, 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 welcome back to the Hulaham Hour. I am Kurtis alongside Nick. What's going on this week, brother man?
Oh, enjoying some snow melting, a little warmer weather, getting a little itch for golf.
God love it. Yeah. Welcome to episode 13, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick it. Welcome back, everybody. It's February 26th, 2025. I am Kurtis. So, man, lots of happenings in the sports world, as always, bustling out of the seams. This weekend, the NFL Combine is where we're going to start. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of players flaking out. A lot of players not going to go because they throw at their pro days. Like I told you earlier this week, they're like, yeah, we get everybody together in one area with all the scouts. But, nah, you can come and see just me at my pro day. It seems to me sometimes like when they don't do combine stuff that it's like, why don't they want to perform? Because they don't want to have like an underperformance. I don't know. What's your thoughts now on so many people just not wanting to participate in a combine instead do a pro day, or sometimes just skip out on both and say draft me from my film?
Well, to me, not many people skip their personal pro days, though. Not top recruits. And I kind of get the fact they like to do their pro days instead because it's more comfortable. But at the same time, you're about to go to a new place where nothing is comfortable.
Yeah.
I think it should be mandatory for them to compete in the combine, and their pro day should be optional.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense, especially because there is so much time and effort put into the combine. It's in the center of the country in Indianapolis. It's the center of the country as you're going to get without, in an indoor facility that, can service what they're trying to do. I've always wanted to go to the combine. I think that'd be super cool, but I think it's closed to the public, which is stupid. I think it should be open to the public. Just another level of added fun for that, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The combine's always fun. You have situations like, Zach Wilson. He really wasn't going to be like the greatest thing ever, which he turned out not to be, but they pretty much based his whole draft status on that one serendipitous throw that he made, like whatever. It's like, okay, everybody can make one good throw every once in a while. Yes. So ever since then, it's been a little sour taste in my mouth with the combine and both sides of the fence. But it's always fun to see the players come out. It's always fun to see the 40-yard dashes. It's always fun to see the guys just lifting and jumping and all that kind of stuff. It's better. It's more fun to watch than the goddamn Pro Bowl. So, yeah. Any other thoughts with the combine?
Yeah, I just hate that they don't work out as much at the combine, though. You should be trying to compete against the other top recruits.
Yeah.
Not just your own day.
Correct. Same feelings. They are mutual. So yeah, Nick, tell us about the report cards that got put out today by the NFLPA.
Oh man, that's always fantastic. I enjoy when the players get finally one chance out of the year to tell ownership how they really freaking feel. Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the New York Jets and getting some nice Fs there. I don't know if I've seen that many Fs. And honestly, I'm not surprised. It goes to show you why even Aaron Rodgers wouldn't come back to your city, and he's washed up.
Yeah, no kidding.
That should tell you all you need to know about the Jets right there. If you are a rookie in this draft, try to hide when they go to pick.
Yeah.
Like, please, do your career a favor.
In the current situation, yes.
And what are your thoughts on the Bengals getting their treating of families an F-? Like, I didn't even think an F- was possible, but apparently they just hate their players' families.
I'm trying to find that. Yeah, that's unbelievable. That means like, did they get sat? Yeah, treatment. Yeah, F-. Holy shit. Yeah, are they like, all right, only one wife out of all 40 or 52 players can come, and she's got to sit in section 600, and she's got to buy her ticket.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't know, man. Or like, here's your lunch.
Like, oh, you have kids. Like, I'm sorry, but they'll never see you play in Cincinnati.
Yeah, wow. I mean, they didn't do bad in a lot of other categories.
No, but 99% of people have fucking families.
Yeah, and
that's a pretty bad stat to fail.
Nutrition, dietitian, they got to see. Yeah,
Which that kills me. These guys are fucking billionaires. You can't find a decent dietitian for your fucking football team?
Yeah, no kidding.
That kind of just blows my mind.
Yeah, all right. Who else you got?
Well, let's talk about ownerships for a minute here. Wow, this kind of blew my mind. Pittsburgh Steelers got a D. What are your thoughts as a Pittsburgh fan?
It's kind of a mess right now. Their locker room got a D. Their head coach is always an A because Tomlin's a G. Their ownership got a D. I believe it, dude. It's kind of a mess right now out east in Pittsburgh, man. Like, they don't really have a quarterback identity right now, which they've not really had in the Tomlin era. They've really been in a crisis situation since Roethlisberger left because Mason Rudolph didn't pan out. Then Kenny Pickett doesn't pan out. And Russell Wilson didn't pan out. I personally still feel very strongly that Justin Fields would have worked out had they have given him the longer chance. He definitely would have won a game down the stretch, as Russell Wilson did not. And that's where I didn't think. Anyways, yeah, it's a mess out there, dude. But Tomlin's not the issue, and for anybody to say otherwise is an idiot. That's the cold hard facts.
No, anybody who watches football knows Tomlin's a great coach.
Yes.
You can't go 18 years in the league without a losing season and not be a great coach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But somehow the head coaches always get pinned as the problems. But hey.
But just think about this, though. They were only half a mark away from Carolina Owners Panther David Tepin, who is the worst piece of shit in the world.
Piece of garbage.
Piece of garbage. Other than that, you can't really look too much at this. It's just nice to hear the players actually get an opportunity to voice, like how their locker rooms, their travel, how their actual facilities really are.
I'm looking. Washington Commanders pretty much gave A's and B's all the way around, except for their locker room. They gave it an F. Their locker room, that I don't know, it was like Dan Quinn just taking shits in the middle of the room.
Well, it's an old stadium still.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like most of the players that gave the F grades to their locker rooms are playing at aged facilities. Like I hate to say it, Ford Field is getting older. They're not like super old, but it's getting older in stadium years anymore. They gave it a C+. The Cleveland Browns gave their locker room an F-. The Bengals,
I bet you there's no masseuses in there.
The Cardinals gave their locker room an F- too. Damn, man. I don't, but is that like the quality of the locker room or like the quality of the locker room like as like a team perspective?
The quality of the actual physical locker rooms.
Okay. All right. So like the doors,
facilities.
like an F- would be like no one has their own locker. It's a free for all. Everyone's jock straps are getting stolen by the janitor. Like I just feel like
you remember in junior high where you had lockers that were like that wide.
Yeah.
That's probably like their football helmet.
Yeah. You got to shove your pads in this, which means you have to take your pads completely apart after every practice and game and shove them in one piece at a time. You piece of shit.
It's got to be something pretty bad. You'd be rated F-.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, I'm trying to find like a team that got like good grades all the way across the board, and it kind of looks like Atlanta got a bunch of A's and B's. Good for them.
Detroit had pretty average.
Yeah, Detroit didn't have as many A's as I thought they would, and to be honest. Like, Atlanta did not give a single C in any category.
I'm looking at the Miami Dolphins right now, unless they got an F there.
Buffalo Bills gave their team travel an F-, means that they're literally flying Spirit.
They probably take buses.
Each take Ubers, Tesla only, no driver.
I'd say the Miami Dolphins had the best grade from what I'm looking at. Them and the Vikings.
Yeah.
Look at them side by side.
Yeah,
there.
the Vikings had. Yep. Yeah, they really did, didn't they?
Miami killed it too.
Yeah.
But then again, I would rather be in Miami than Buffalo, so you might as well make a nice stadium.
Yeah, for sure. I wish there was. Yeah, the Jets really. C-, C-, D+, CF ownership.
See, and to me, like the greatest thing about this is now we're about to start the league year here in a few weeks. If I'm a player looking at this going, why in the hell do I want to come to your city when the players that are there don't even like it?
Yeah, it's very, very true.
I mean, if you got Fs in a lot of places, I'm like, I don't think that's going to help me grow.
Yeah, how you said that it gives the players a voice. It does. Do they listen? Probably not. Like I would love to see like last year if the Cardinals gave their locker room an F, or if it just literally went to shit this year, or that'd be kind of fun to go back and see, because I know for a long time when these cards came out that the Chiefs, after winning Super Bowls, they would give their ownership an F grade. It's like, okay, know where the real problems lie here. So. Yeah, so speaking of important dates, yeah, you are correct. The new season, March 4th is the next kind of important date that is coming up. It's the deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players. There hasn't been as much franchise tagging, I feel like, this year that there has been in the past, which is good because I'm not a big fan of the franchise tag. I think it's a big old FU to anybody that receives it, just because they don't want to pay you, but they want to retain you. Yeah. March 10th and 12th, between the 10th and the 12th, a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not going to read happens. But March 12th at 4 p.m. is when the official league season starts. I feel like that's going to be a very fun day this year, as I think most of all the big moves last year happened kind of right away, didn't they?
Yeah, hit and miss. It depends on what players want, and it all depends on the market.
Well, because I remember like Saquon and Kirk Cousins, they both and they were like, there's no way that you guys held off to the date and time that you were supposed to frickin' wait to negotiate these deals, and I think they got fined for it.
Well, I think you can talk right now. You just can't make anything official.
Yeah, that's what
You can have conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, you pretty much have it all drawn out. You just got to sign.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins, yet again for the second year in a row, is going to be in them conversations.
Playing for backup money is what he's going to be playing for.
Yeah, and the Cleveland Browns, watch.
Yeah, they had him on announcing one of the playoff games, Kirk Cousins. I'm like, yeah, look at your future, buddy.
Somehow he'll still find a way to get the most guaranteed money. Watch.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? Good for him. He's a state guy. I've been a Kirk fan for a long time, but not while he was in Minnesota, at least. But yeah, he did the Dirty Birds pretty dirty. He really did.
Well, they already knew it wasn't going to be a long term when they drafted Michael Penix. They just didn't think they'd have to play him that quickly.
Yeah, and then, when Penix did start playing, he provided the spark that they desperately needed. He really did. He really did. So then after March 12th is between March 30th and April 2nd is the annual league meeting in Palm Beach, Florida at the Breakers. That's always just a bunch of horse shit. I did see something that an anonymous team put a notion to vote to ban the tush push.
It's not anonymous.
Oh, it's not anymore. It was when it was
It's the
originally.
Green Bay Packers GM.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure, the bitch-ass Packers.
Well, here's what kills me. They run the tush push with their tight end. How the hell is that any different?
Right? Yeah, it's just putting a different player in the same position and doing it.
Yeah, and they're the ones who called it out. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. They do it with Tucker Kraft all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. I'm not a fan of the play personally, but if you can't stop it, you can't stop it, I guess. If everybody starts doing it, there's going to be a whole lot less punting. Let's just put it that way.
So here's my take on that. If they make this a rule, then every time a running back gets stopped in the midfield and a lineman pushes him or anything of that nature, a tight end, a receiver gets pushed forward by somebody else, that's all illegal. It's the same thing.
Yeah, essentially is.
I just don't see him making that a universal rule.
It'd be too hard. Be too much.
It used to be a rule.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, they got rid of it. It used to be a rule. You couldn't do that.
And now you can.
Yeah, and I don't see him going back just because people are pissy at Philly.
Right. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, the league meeting, we'll see what other BS rules. It sounds to me like they plan to keep the kickoff, which sucks. Not a fan of the new style of kickoff. Listening to people talk about it, they were all excited that it was actually higher statistically for more returns than previous rules, which I didn't think that could have been the case. But I wasn't tracking it, so I got to believe what they say. I hope they try to to return it, because college football still has the old style, and it's just way better. It just is. I'm all for player safety, but at some point you don't sacrifice all of the fun for player safety. They get paid a lot of money. If they get hurt, they'll be just fine.
Well, none of it's going to matter unless they move the kicker back. Every one of them kickers can boot it out of the end zone.
Yeah, and we used to kick off from the 30, so that was almost guaranteed to be a return every time. And
I wouldn't mind the new format, but move the kicker back.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a very good compromise, Nick. Maybe we should start a petition, huh?
I mean, seriously, though, every kicker in the NFL has a leg. They could put it out of the end zone if they want.
It's a very, very good point. I think that would be a very good compromise if they wanted to keep the same format. And they could even move the kicker back, but they also moved like the blockers up 5 yards or something. Something along those lines. Yeah. Hopefully they can come to an agreement on some stuff. I know, the hip drop tackle was not as big of an issue this season as I kind of originally thought it was going to be. So hopefully there's nothing as stupid as that one really ended up being. But hey, we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell what they come with. That'll be March 30th through April 2nd. That'll be what we have to look forward to after the kickoff of the first part of the league year. Then we get into April. April 7th, they can start doing their off-season workout programs. Then it gets into a whole bunch of the all sorts of crazy stuff. And then, at the end of April, April 24th through the 26th, the NFL draft is happening this year in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I low-key hope that it snows so hard. I don't know, man. It'll be fun. It'll be cool to have it in another location. I don't think anybody... I don't know. It's going to be tough to break what Detroit did last year with the number of people that came out for the draft. That was still, I'm very, very, very impressed with how many people Detroit handled for that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the draft coming up, bud? You excited about it?
There's a lot of defensive players coming out of this draft, and I think that's going to be interesting.
I think that's going to be huge for the year next year.
It is. Not a lot of offense, though. So if you were struggling, I'd be looking to the free agent market, maybe a Debo, a Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, big time. Big time, for sure. Yeah, not much this week either on the Detroit Lion front. Read a couple articles on the new offensive and defensive coordinator. I'm getting a little more excited about Calvin Shepard. With being the defensive coordinator, he's a very intimidating-looking human in a sense that you want when you're playing defense, because you want that Ray Lewis, I'm going to kill somebody mentality. and he seems to hopefully have that. I just hope on the other side of the ball on offense that Morton can produce, because he does not give me those same vibes, sadly. I don't want to be a negative Nelly about it, but wouldn't have been my first choice. But we shall see, and I wish them the best, because I really, really, really think we still have a very good chance next season of making it to the Super Bowl, which I would absolutely love to see. So with that being said, I believe that's going to wrap up this week's NFL talk, unless you have anything else on the report cards or anything else. What do you got?
Nope, not for the NFL this week, but right after this, I'd like to transition to a different sport with some new rule changes.
All right. Lay it on me, brother.
So have you seen, welcome back baseball. Spring training is among us.
Hell
Have
yeah.
you seen the rule changes they're trying to kind of slip in now that they've been doing in the minors with the 2 challenges for balls and strikes?
I saw a little bit on the virtual umpire. Yes. Very little. However, I get the gist of it. I think it's insane that it's taken this long to implement something of that nature. It's 2025. We've had this technology, I'm going to guess, since 2015 at least. However, yeah, I like that one the best. I think that's great. What are your thoughts on it?
So I don't like the fact that you get 2 challenges per person. I do like the idea of more of a virtual strike zone, but there's a reason they put a pitch clock in to shorten the game. So now you're going to have 2 challenges rather than just have an earpiece in. That's not shortening the game.
Well, but
It's a step in the right direction to get it right.
I would imagine, like the accelerated replay, right? That, okay, there's not a big delay anymore, and even somebody sitting in New York and radioing in to somebody that's wherever the game's being played and say that's a ball or that's a strike in the umpire's ear.
So far, it hasn't looked like that, though.
Yeah, I did see a couple of them, and it does take a decent amount of time, but yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think they should not implement it in the MLB this year. I think they should ride it out in the minors for at least a season to see how that goes. Maybe even just do single A or.
So they have been for 2 years already.
They have been.
Yeah.
Okay. On what level?
I want to say double A.
Double A. Okay. Well, I'd be interested to know how that's going. I'll have to look up an article and do a little reading.
As long as it doesn't lengthen the game, I'm all for getting it right.
Yeah, for sure.
It's already a long game. You'd basically be undoing the pitch clock. It took a half hour off every game. It was the best thing they ever did.
Yeah.
So that was my rules topic for MLB, and welcome them back to the world.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of some Tiger spring training the other day when they were playing the Yankees. Just was absolutely, it made me feel like there should not be this much snow outside still. However, there is. It's slowly going away, but it's not going away fast enough. Baseball and the Masters are like my 2 telltale signs that spring is here, and we're getting very close to the Masters. It's coming up. It'll be here before we know it.
First week of April.
Yep. Yeah. So, MLB, very excited about that. Don't have much to talk about because spring training is spring training. I know I can't remember. I remember it's 3-3 when I was watching the game the other day, but I don't remember who won, lost. They tie. I don't know if they play extras in spring training or not. Very excited about the Tigers here this year. It's going to be fun. Fun to watch them again, especially after what they finished last year. Watch them this year just could suck again. Who knows? Probably not, though. Hopefully they bounce back, do better, learn, all that stuff. So, yeah. Speaking of golf that I mentioned a little bit ago, before we get into the TGL, I'd like to cover a little bit on the Mexican Open, excuse me. Brian Campbell came through. It was a playoff they had between him and, I don't know, you pronounced it earlier, dude. I butchered it.
Holtgeider.
Thank you very much, sir. It's fun to watch playoff. Wish there would have been a few more names to support the Mexican Open, but it's not a huge purse, but it's not a small one either. Not a small one either. And FedEx Cup points involved. So, but great job, Brian Campbell. Good win. Can't wait.
Most important thing about tournaments like that are all the exempts you get. Still a PGA event.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's the one thing I've never Never really understood why, like I think it was last year Tom Kim played like almost every event, every single one. And, I just don't, if I know a lot of players have families and blah, 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 or whatever, but like, I don't know. So, okay, so it looks like coming up the next PGA event is, I'm going to butcher that, Cognizant Classic, something along those lines.
Down in Florida.
$9.2 million purse. Starts tomorrow, goes through the second Sunday. Be fun to watch more PGA golf. It's that time of year. I'm very excited. But what I'm most excited about in the golf world is our second favorite topic on this channel, the TGL. Speaking of this channel, we love the support. We love all y'all. We're just shy of 12,000 subscribers. We appreciate all the support. Keep commenting, and subscribing, and we are going to keep bringing this to you. So, TGL. We had a doubleheader on Monday and a game on Tuesday. I am on the wrong god darn screen per usual. Okay. Yeah, Tuesday, or Monday's games. Boston, Atlanta. Atlanta was fairly dominant the entire time, even though the score doesn't reflect it, but 6-3, it was pretty much all Atlanta. They were doing interviews most of the time after a certain point. But the LA New York game, that went into sudden death, which I will keep saying every single time that it happens, is so much fun to watch. So Nick, you caught the majority of the LA New York one. What were your overall thoughts on that match?
Well, I would say that New York's record does not reflect how good they are. They finally, for the first match this year, started hitting some putts. So they hit 29 foot of putts the entire rest of the season and hit like 48 just in that match alone.
They did have a long putt, but however, you are correct. They did make a hell of a lot more putts than normal. They were putting very, very well. Very, very well.
These guys are starting to figure out them greens and the speeds, and even with that big dip, it's starting to get really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. Trying to see here, yeah. Yeah, Colin Morikawa stuck that in overtime. That was a hell of a shot. So speaking of the other match, though, and speaking of a hell of a shot, I think my shot of that match was Patrick Cantlay had a flop shot from it, just landed just inside the zone to where they just drop and chip on the green, and he flop shotted it to like within 3 foot 3 inches, I think it was. It was an incredible shot. It's probably the best shot that I've seen taken there, overtime, regardless, whatever it was. It was fantastic. It's been the teams, like, there's no bad team. It's just how you bring it and play. Because even watching Tuesday, Bay was great, but it's not that Jupiter played bad either.
Yeah.
It's just so, yeah, it's been so much fun. I'm very excited for the playoffs. They're shaping up. I believe because Jupiter lost, I believe that still gives Boston an opportunity. I don't remember the exact how they were explaining it last week on how it would shape out. But right now, if the season ended, it'd be the Bay Golf Club, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and New York, with Jupiter and Boston.
I think right now they're just fighting for seeding at this point, damn near.
Yeah. I find it ironic that the two guys that are the head of starting this whole thing are the two teams that are going to not make the playoffs.
That is a little bit funny.
It's a lot of funny. But they've been great. They've been good personalities on television. They've been great sports. They've played with one, they've poking fun at each other. The Hammers, I'm really a big fan of them. You can really get a good strategy going with the Hammers if you really want. I watched Rory poorly manage his Hammers, I felt like. And I watched the team he was playing manage theirs well and throw it when it was almost a sure thing. I get the time that I'm talking about with Rory, though. He almost had no choice. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, if they make this, great. If not, or, it's, yeah. So.
And Jupiter kind of did that last night. They kind of made a little bit of a comeback, and then they ran out of hammers, and they just ran out of time.
Yep.
I like that they changed it to each team gets 3 instead of the back and forth thing. That makes it a lot more strategic.
It does. 100% makes it way more strategic, and I like it a whole lot more. It makes it way more exciting. It makes it way, way more exciting.
Yeah, because there was teams that would just hold on to it once they got it.
Yeah, and we're not here for that. We're here for fun. But I get, again, this just goes to the whole idea that you have this idea, and it's brought to life, and it's going to have change. Shit, every single sport to this day has changes that happen every single year, and it just makes them better. Well, some make them better. Okay, so next Monday, or this coming up Monday, March 3rd, we've got another doubleheader. However, they are pushing up the times, which I'm not very keen on, but it is what it is. So starting at 3 p.m., we got the Bay taking on LA. Might be a potential championship look ahead. I think that's going to be a very great match. And then New York takes on Boston. I believe that's what the game... Okay, so because Boston and New York tied, that if Boston beats them, they'd have the same record, but Boston would have the head-to-head win, and they would scooch up into the 4th playoff spot. I think that's the scenario. But I don't see Boston beating New York. I don't. I really don't.
Not if they can putt like they did this week.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be fun. So Bay, LA, 3 p.m., New York, Boston, 7 p.m. I will be watching both of those. I'll probably have it on at work. And then Tuesday, March 4th, we got Jupiter taking on Atlanta. And that's just kind of for fun, I believe, at this point. I may, And then, that's going to wrap up the regular season. So a week from today, we will have the playoff seeding for the first ever TGL Cup. Very looking forward to it. All right, moving along. Chugging along. The NBA and the NHL are back at it. Red Wings kind of started off on a sour note. First off, Four Nations tournament wrapped up. Canada won. Most people know. There was lots of drama come out of that whole situation. It was very good hockey to watch. Still was a fun game. Really, really hope they bring that back again next year and for years to come. Just seemed like it made everybody want to care a little bit more. Any thoughts on Four Nations championship game?
It was everything you could have asked for. It was a great hockey game. You just can't leave the best player in the world wide open in the middle of the ice in front of the net in overtime. There's a reason he's gotten to the most points quicker than Gretzky. He's that good.
Yeah, Ovechkin's. Yeah.
Ovechkin's 12 away. I'm following that very closely.
Yeah, he's been an animal for a long time in the league. He's been so much fun to watch throughout his career. If anybody's deserving of breaking Wayne Gretzky's record, I would say he's definitely deserving.
He's one of 4 people to score over 30 goals after the age of 39, and he's done it in 42 games.
Wow. Yeah, he's incredible. He is
unbelievable.
Incredible. Yes, he is.
I hope to see him get it. I'm a huge Ovechkin fan.
Yeah, I hope to see him do it too. It's kind of like watching, all the home run records be broke back in the day and stuff like that, but it's not very often in sports history just that things like this happen. So very excited to watch it. Very, very happy for him. He's had a very good career, very long career that was full of, he's won a cup, first ballot Hall of Famer, 100%. Yeah, super awesome. So, Four Nations, bring it back. We loved it. Love to see more of it. Red Wings. They've been playing some good hockey. Now they started off on a kind of a shit game against the Wild there, where they were up a couple goals in the third period. Let it go to overtime, lose. Skip ahead 2 days. The same godforsaken thing happened again, except they pulled out the victory, which makes it not okay, but makes it a lot better. They're playing great hockey. They're playing physical hockey. They're playing fast hockey. Watching the game when they played Anaheim, they possessed the puck the majority of the time, I feel like. They outplayed Anaheim immensely. How in the world that they scored those 2 goals in the last 3 minutes, I will never know. And how in the world we missed so many open net chances that we had in the last 4 minutes of the game, again, I don't know. But the Red Wings are clicking. They are, I think, the first wild card spot right now currently in the East. What are your thoughts on the Red Wings right now, bud?
They are playing quite well, and they are the number 1 wild card seed right now.
Sweet.
And the number 2 is the stadium game on Saturday against Columbus at the U.
Yeah, yep.
Place holds 103,000 people.
That's going to be fun. I'm excited for that. It's always fun when Columbus and Detroit play. There's just kind of that unspoken Ohio-Michigan rivalry, you know?
No, it's pretty spoken. Screw Ohio.
Yeah. Screw them hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so much fun to watch the Red Wings this season since they made their change. You know, most people, when they make a coaching change mid-season, it does not work out to this advantageous ever, really. But it is for them, and it's fun to watch. It's been fun to watch Detroit sports this season. Started this channel at the right time, my man.
Well, in hockey, until like 2 years ago, they were never making coaching changes mid-season. That's been a recent thing.
Very, very. But everybody is so hung up on wanting results right now. I want to win right now. And if you don't, you're gone. So You got to work fast. You've got to work really, really, really fast. And if you don't, you're going to get left in the dust. And it's in every sport now. It's not just football. It's not just basketball. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. People, if you're going to merit being paid that much money, damn it, produce. And I get it. I do.
Yeah, but when you get thrown into a Washington Wizards job and expect to win, you got to at least give them a little bit of time to get some people. I mean, it's a little unfair at the same time.
Yeah. Here's this
you
group
get thrown
of
in
guys
with AHL players and say go win. Yeah, well, I feel bad.
It's like the Space Jam guys after they lost their mojos. Here's a team of that.
Yeah. Now go play against men and win right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the Red Wings are 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game win streak. Playing well. They got 66 points. Not, fourth place in the Atlantic Division. It's getting exciting. We're coming up on towards the very, we're in like the witching hour right now of the season where, this is like make or break time for playoffs. We're coming up, but, we've got a little over a month of play left. It's going to be a fun ride out for both basketball and hockey. Speaking of basketball, switching gears here a little bit. Pistons been playing some good ball. They are also 8-2 in their last 10 on a 7-game win streak. Caught their game the other night. Trying to remember who they were playing. They're playing the Clippers. They were just clicking. That game was back and forth, all the way to the fourth quarter, and then the Pistons just took off. It was great. They've been playing some really good ball. Cade Cunningham's odds to get a triple-double on DraftKings are so low, it's, like, ridiculous. Like, it's a triple-double. Like, but he does well. He was on pace to get a triple-double at his halftime stats on the game that I watched over the weekend. He had, I think it was 12 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists at halftime. But I don't think he got it. However, how you feeling on the Pistons right now, man?
I feel really good. I'm still not a fan of our record on teams over 500, but compared to last year, I couldn't be more happy with how we're doing. What a turnaround, honestly.
We've doubled I think we only had like 12 or 16 wins last year, I believe. So we've doubled
14.
that. Yeah, we've more than doubled that win already. Win 32.
We're
32 and
sixth in the
26.
East.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to compete with the Cavs or Boston. We're currently playing Boston right now, and game's not too terrible. Game's not too terrible.
That's really the only two in the East, though, that you could say are just way above.
Forces. Yes, 100%. 100%.
I mean, the Heat are okay, but they're not those two.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to talk about the West a little bit, though.
Go for it.
Luka, 2 triple doubles, just had one against his old team yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're starting to click a little bit.
That's what they
What
wanted.
do you think on that?
You know, whenever there's a monumental trade like that, clearly it's a trade, whether the sports world wants to feel this way or not. You can't. You're doing this trade. You can't do that. So clearly, both sides thought this was advantageous to themselves as well as the other team. However, I think everybody knows who got the better end of that deal. Simply because.
See, I don't know about that yet.
Well, and it takes time to play out. But if you're talking the instantaneous results everybody is looking for, I'm looking at the Mavericks fighting for a play-in spot, and I'm looking at the Lakers now in 4th place in the West. So you want instantaneous results, you kind of got them. Now, maybe long-term, you might be correct that works out for the Mavericks better. However, I'm waiting for Kyrie Irving to start complaining at this point.
See, I don't think so. And I was watching that game against LA. They only lost by 11 without all 3 of their big men. They started a 6'7" guy at center.
Wow.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Most people's shooting guards are that size now and small forwards. So I think come the end of the year, if they can even get Davis back and Gafford or Lively, they're going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Kyrie likes to be the star of the show, man. He's not going to give a shit.
No, not at all.
He loves the limelight.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch the NBA shake out this year. I think, okay, so if the Lakers end up winning the whole thing this year, it's like the best trade of all time, right? I mean, for real. But you'd think like, oh, it's LeBron, he shouldn't need all this help, blah, 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 blah. Well, like when he won him in Miami, he had help. When he won it in Cleveland, you can say
everybody has help.
Yeah, exactly. But this is different. I mean, to be honest, like if you're talking from like a superstardom like standpoint right now in current NBA like times, like Luka is just as big as LeBron, like not on like that level, but you know what I'm saying. Like he's selling out just as many seats as LeBron is. It's gonna be fun to watch. Thunder are killing it in the West. They're the dominant team for sure. And then it's pretty middle of the pack. There's a lot more competition. I feel like normally there's more teams that are a lot more out there. So playoffs are gonna be fun to watch. They always are. Again, I think it's like middle of April that they start for both NHL and NBA, if I'm not mistaken, and then play through the beginning of June because that is how the cookie crumbles. All right. So, anything else on the NBA this week, brother?
No, not really.
Okay, sweet.
I mean, there's always plenty of things going on, but nothing worth the topic yet.
Yeah, I'm very excited for April. I always remember Fox Sports' April in the D marketing campaign because Pistons and the Red Wings are wrapping up their seasons or potentially getting into the playoffs, and then you've got baseball starting, and it's April in the D's coming up quick. Spring will be here before we know it. Very excited. Okay, moving on. NCAA basketball. Son. My Spartans ran over the Wolverines. It was a fun, exciting game to watch. It was very competitive through and through, but the better team won. Michigan State is now 22-5, riding a 3-game win streak. They are ranked 8th in the nation. They are now, again, the top-ranked Big Ten team. And Michigan bumped down to 15, and Purdue fell down to 20 because State beat both of them last week. Both were good games, but, next game, I believe, is at the Breslin Center. Not, it's going to be tough for the Wolverines to rebound.
One home, one away.
Yep, it's going to be tough for the Wolverines to rebound. So, what are your thoughts on the next Michigan State basketball matchup?
Well, I just watched Michigan play Nebraska the other day, and for the love of God, we could not hit a three-pointer. We looked terrible. We went 7 minutes without a basket. If we can't get out of this funk, we are going to get buried, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Selection Sunday will be here before we know it. Auburn still sitting at the number 1 spot. Duke at number 2. Florida 3. Houston 4. Tennessee is at 5. Your Roll Tide is at 6. St. John's at 7. And Michigan State at 8. It's the other Big Ten teams that are in the top 20 would be Wisconsin at 11. You got Michigan at 15. You got Maryland at 16. You've got Purdue at 20. And that is all of the top 25 Big Ten teams remaining. Big time push for the tournament.
Don't Maryland and Michigan State play there tomorrow?
I believe you are correct, yes. I believe you are correct. I can view it, unless you're probably looking it up right now. But, yeah, I know there's only 2 or 3 games really left in the season, if I'm understanding that correctly. Yeah, so this Sunday.
They're on right
Michigan.
now.
Oh, yeah, they are on right now. Awesome. I will definitely have to get that game on. Sweet. Yeah, so they've got that game. And then Sunday, Michigan State plays Wisconsin. That will be another great game. Thursday, March 6th, State plays Iowa. And then we wrap up on Sunday, March 9th with another Michigan State bout. Yeah, it looks like, that's what I'm going to be turning on as we get this week's episode uploaded this week. Sweet. Awesome. Sawsome. Yeah, and then let's see what we got on docket for Michigan. Yeah, last night, yep, but at least Michigan did win the game. That's great. They got Rutgers tomorrow at 9. They've got Illinois on Sunday at 3:45. Michigan then plays Maryland Wednesday, March 5th at 6:30, and then, of course, the last game of the season on Sunday, March 9th, 12 p.m. Going to be a great, I love how then we had the Big Ten tournament. It's going to be very interesting this year with how many teams now the Big Ten has. I'm kind of excited to see that. That'll be fun to watch. But State always seems to do well. Michigan always seems to do well in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, very excited. That's coming up. And then it's going to be March Madness before we know it, man. Very excited to do my bracket this year. It's always fun. It's always a good time. So, okay. So, yeah, mock draft, yeah. I don't know what kind of circling back, but I forgot. That was something I wanted to talk about earlier. But what do you think of Mel Kiper's latest mock draft?
I'm done watching mock drafts at this point. I'm so sick of seeing them.
Yeah, a meteorologist only has to get their job like 20% right, and I think Mel Kiper's well under that figure. Would you agree?
Yeah.
You
got it.
No, I don't know. I love at this point when people just kind of put him on blast. Like, I get it's what the man does for a living, and in sports talk, and I have nothing but respect for him because he does what we're doing here. However, he's just always so wrong. Like, I just take anything the man says and just boop, boop. This is the complete opposite. Yeah, I don't know. If the Cleveland Browns take Cam Ward, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just going to be a mess. This draft is going to be very interesting. Like you said, there's not very much quarterback talent. There's very high on the defensive front. But there's also, I feel like there's a lot of tight ends in this draft as well. It's going to be fun. So, yeah. So, with that being said, I believe I am out of topics for this week. You got anything else for us this week, brother? All right.
No, sir, I do not.
All right, sweet. Well, with that being said, ladies and gents, we appreciate all the support. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will be seeing all of you beautiful ladies and gentlemen next week. So with that, we are Hulaham out.